Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. Welcome to Simply Cards by Kathy. I'm Kathy Ondas. Today, I have a very clean and simple card to share with you. We are going to be using the Darling Details bundle. A little bit of stamping, a lot of die cutting, and I'm excited to share this with you. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy you found me. I hope you'll enjoy it. And if you're returning, thank you so much for being with me, whether you're with me on the video live or whether you catch it on the replay. I'm happy that you keep coming back and for your support and helping me grow my channel. So I am not with you actually live today. I'm pre-recording this because I am watching two of my grandchildren. So I recorded this earlier this morning, and I'm going to flip this camera down and we're going to get started. Okay, we are going to be using the Darling Details bundle. This is a bundle that I just got last week, and I'm really excited to share it with you. It is two-step stamping, which I love. A lot of little details. We're going to be using this stamp today and a lot of the dies. I'm going to bring the dies in for you, and we are going to be using this one. I have pre-cut a lot of these. These are all stand on their own. They're very detailed dies. And here's this one. And then I've cut all the leaves. And the other floral is cut in berry burst. So that's what we're going to be using. We are going to be using a framed die today. And the card is really a white, basic white, clean card with some color to the flowers. And we're also going to add some detail to the front of the card using a embossing folder. So let's just get started. So I'm starting off, and if you hear the dogs in the background, they are ramping up this morning. So I'm starting off with a piece of basic white thick, and this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we're going to go ahead and fold this and get that ready and burnish it with our bone folder. I hope you had a great weekend. You were able to do some crafting or some type of hobby that brings you joy, and that you're having a good beginning to your week. So this is going to set off to the side. Now, the next piece we're going to use is basic white. And I want this to cut out my frame, and then I want to emboss it. So I'm simply kind of going to eyeball this and get it in the middle. I want it pretty even on all sides. This is a piece of 4 by 5 1/4. Now, you know that I'm going to give you a PDF for this. So sit back, relax, don't worry about the measurements. Now, that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to take a piece of, you can use washi tape. I use the Post-it note tape. Just because I like that it peels off well. And I just want to secure this here. And then I am going to bring in, you won't see it because I really brought you in close. I'm going to run that through my embossing folder, or through my cut and emboss machine. We're not going to do the embossing folder yet. And then we're going to emboss it. So I have this right here next to us. So I'm just going to run it through, and then we're going to emboss. Now for the embossing folder, we're going to use the Painted Posies. because I really like the way it looked with these die cuts. It almost resembles the die cuts. So here's our frame, and you can see this is just a scrap piece that you can use. We might even use it for stamping. And you can see how pretty that is. Now, a lot of this I'm just going to kind of poke out. But then we're going to take this piece and we're going to run it through that Painted Posies embossing folder. And you're going to see really how pretty it is. So to do that, I'm going to bring in my embossing folder. And you can see that my design is going this way. Hopefully you can see how the flowers are. Here's up at the top. So I want to lay this in along the line. You always have a line here, and I use it to help me line up my paper. And I'm going to bring this down a little bit even, because I want to get the embossed design up as high as I can on my piece of my layer. So here we are, and now this is a 3D embossing folder. So when you emboss, all you're going to use is plate number 1, which is your big thick plate, and then we're going to use plate number 4, which is this gray plate. The other thing I want to remind you when you're putting your embossing folders in, you want to lay it down. You always want this folded part at the top. If you don't, you run the risk of it cracking. You want that to go through first, the folded part. Otherwise, you run the risk of cracking your embossing folder on that fold. And I am speaking from experience. I have done that when I wasn't paying attention, and it did crack a folder. Okay, so we're done with this, and let's see what we have. I'm going to take this away. There. Oh, how pretty. Okay, look at that beautiful piece. And that's a frame. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take this and I'm going to glue it down right on the front of my card. So let's go ahead and do that. Now you can use your tape runner, your Stampin' Seal. I use multi-purpose glue. Again, because of the embossing, I can get that glue in those little crevices, and I find my embossed pieces hold down a little bit better. Okay, it's being stubborn today. There it is. So I'm going to go all the way around the edge here. I'm not going to go over here where the little holes are because I don't want that to seep out. Sorry for the noise there. Okay. Now I do have a few little pieces that didn't pop out, so I'm just going to go ahead and get those real quick before I lay this down. I noticed there were just a few. Okay. So when you're embossing, if you want more detail in your embossed layer, did you know that you can lightly sprinkle it or spray it with with water, and that will give you some increased depth or dimension to your embossed layer. So I want this right nice edge all the way around. So I'm going to slide this over a little bit, which is why I use my multi-purpose glue. It does allow me to slide. That's got to go over a little bit more. Okay. That looks good. Okay. And then just press it down. Now you remember I didn't put anything around the edges here because I want to use that for my flowers. So with this, I have cut, remember I said I had pre-cut flowers. I had cut one of those, and I've cut two of these. And I've cut a ton of leaves from all of the different dyes that are in that. I'm just going to spread them out here so you can see them, because there's a variety of which you can use. So, and we're going to kind of pick and choose what we use. But I want to stamp one image, and the image I want to use is that small flower. Now remember, this is a photopolymer, so they do stain. You can see I've been using it, but it doesn't affect the quality of your stamped image. So we're going to stamp this in Bubble Bath. I thought that would look really pretty with the berry burst. So I'm going to bring in my stamp, and I'm also going to bring in my piercing mat. I move these off just a little bit because it being photopolymer, you're going to get a much better image with the piercing mat. Now, this is your base stamp or your flat stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and ink it up. And we're just going to stamp down. And you're going to see that your image is varied, and it's going to be light, but you can see that with that stamped image, you get some dark areas and some light. That's kind of how the stamp is made. And now I'm going to come in with the detailed stamp, and hopefully you can see this has like the center of the flower, some little dots or spots, and then your outline. So I'm going to stamp this in the Bubble Bath also. And hopefully I'm not going to get my head in here. And I'm just going to hold it there for minutes for the ink to absorb. I don't like the way that came out. Let's try that again. Okay. That's better. Okay. And now let's stamp this. And I am going to bring my head in a little bit. So hopefully it won't be in the camera. And stamp down. Okay. Now in the center, I'm going to pick this up. You should be able to see lightly some little dots. I want to make those more pronounced. So I took one of my markers. This is the Stampin' Write markers, and this is espresso. And I'm just going to add some color to those little dots so that it looks like the center of the flower. And then this goes with our die, and we can cut it out. But I've already cut it out for us. So we're ready to start to assemble our card. So we're going to bring in our card base. And I'm going to start with my berry burst flowers. And I kind of just want to tuck them in and bring them in the lower portion of the card. So I do have a precision tip glue bottle. Now these I just buy on Amazon. And then I fill them with my multi-purpose glue. And I'm just going to add a little dot here and there on the tip. You don't need a lot. I'm just adding to like the centers, and hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick it up with my tweezers actually, so I don't get the glue all over my hands. And we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this back a little bit and angle this. I don't want it where the holes are, but I am going to bring it in and kind of I'm just going to press it down. And we're going to go ahead and do that with another one. So I have another berry burst, and we're just going to do the same thing. Now this was, and I know you kind of hear this from me at times, this was not a stamp set that was on my wish list. But the more and more I looked at it, I really enjoyed, thought I had some real options to be able to use this with some other stamp sets. I really love the die cuts. Okay, this one I'm going to tuck down in here, and I want to get that. There we go. I want to get that kind of coming up off the frame. All right, now we're going to take this flower and we're going to pop this up right down here with a dimensional. So let's do that. Let's grab our minis and we're going to pop just a few of these on here and then put that on our card. So I am anxious for the mini catalog to come out and to be able to share. Actually, I'm getting ready to place an order tomorrow because that's the first time as demonstrators we can order from it, and be able to show you some sneak peeks of some of the stuff that's coming out. Some really pretty. So this I want to bring right down about here and pop it up. And now we have our leaves that we can add. So we have a variety of leaves. So I'm going to try this triple leaf here. I think that would look pretty. So these would be hard to pop. You could kind of piece your Stampin' Dimensionals in there if you wanted to cut them. I don't. I want these to lay flat because I also don't want, because they're so detailed, I don't want them to get bent in the mail. So I'm going to pop this right up under here. And then let's add a couple of these little ones over in around our posies here, or at least that's what I'm going to call them, posies. And I'm just going to, these precision tips are great for adding just a dot of glue and not getting it all over the place. So we're going to put this and we're going to add this in here. Now that's a single leaf and it's the same cut as this triple one. And then let's go ahead and add, now let's put this here. And I think we're probably almost good then, because I do want to keep this just kind of clean. And let's see one. I think that looks good. I think we're going to stop right about there. All right, now I want to add my greeting. So I have just a little touch, and we'll trim this down. This is just a strip. It's a 3/4 inch strip of white. And my greeting is going to be happy birthday. And I'm going to do that using my Tuxedo black ink. So, and I do use my grid paper. And let's just stamp that down. That looks pretty good. And I want to trim this to size. So I'm just going to snip it with my snips. And I'm going to trim this one right about here. It's going to be smaller. but it's going to fit in really nice with some Stampin' Dimensionals. So we're just going to add 2 there. So a pretty easy card because you're using a lot of die cuts, but you're also doing some 2-step stamping. I love this with the posies, but you can use any embossing folder. So here's that. So for our front, I'm going to sneak in a little brass butterfly, one of my favorites. And I think we're just going to do a small one there because that's a small area. And oh, he's kind of flipping around there. Let's straighten him out. Okay. And now for our inside, I'm going to keep this very simple. What I'm going to do is emboss this edge with my embossing folder and simply glue it on the inside. You could add a flower, or even rather than embossing, maybe just add that little flower. Let's do that. I like that better. So all I'm going to do is glue this in there. I don't want to pop it up with dimensionals, although if you were using this on the outside of the card, you could easily pop this up with the centers there. But I'm just going to glue it down. And let's glue it right. I want it to stay on the inside of the card. Let's see if we'd add a leaf. No, I'm going to leave it like that. And then I'm just going to glue this to the inside of my card. Now this is 4 by 5 1/4 also. And it's white on white, which is what I was looking for. Again, very clean, simple. And I do love all white cards with just a touch of color. I think they're so elegant looking. So here's our card. Again, pretty easy. And let me bring in another one and show you. This one is with Highland Heather and Lemon Lolly. And it's the exact same card. But again, a clean, simple, but really pretty card. I'd love to get it. So let me bring you back to me for a quick minute. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I really enjoyed doing it for you, even though it was quite early in the morning. I think it went okay. And I hope you have a great day and a great week ahead of you. I will be back with you on Friday at 11 a.m. And I hope to stay and a great week.